All right, so I'm going to mess up. I apologize. Here we go. It's Sunday morning. Thank you guys so much for being patrons of our amazing patron over at Yumi Capri, patreon.com/Yumi Capri. We have the amazing gold members Brendan Myers, James Johnson, Ryan Turfer, Coach Timbo, Sheldon Benedict, Joel Brooks, Dawn Becker, our platinum producers Nasty Boots and Tammy, Diamond executive producers Bobby Miller, Lee Navarro, Corey Hicks, Jonathan Brown, and our newest Patreon. I'm not even going to attempt to name. I'm not even going to attempt to name. We're just going to call you Adam K. And I apologize because I don't know how. I'm clueless. I'm Jersey. I'm illiterate. Whatever. Let's just get into the show, Sean.
If we ran Nintendo.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 164 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest co-host in all the land, Mr. Sean Capri.
Bobby, how are you, my friend?
Better now.
Doing okay?
Holy crap.
You doing okay?
I'm crying still. I'm still crying.
It's okay, man.
I got tears coming over here.
It's Sunday morning.
Yes.
I got an empty house, my friend. Like, we didn't really have to do it this early. We could have done it at any point during the day today.
Is that why you streamed all day yesterday? Because you were home alone?
I'm home alone. Yeah, I streamed the entire day.
That's amazing.
I streamed for about 5 hours, and then
you stopped.
And then pizza came, and I was like, I'm just gonna eat this real quick, and I'll be right back. And then Joseph Moran, shout out to Joseph Moran, he's like, you know what, take an hour, like rest up, recharge, get ready to come back. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that actually sounds nice. So I ate this pizza, like a full on pizza, dude. Like
Get out.
Pepperoni, pineapple, olives, and mushrooms. A large pizza. It was gone. And it was good. It was real tasty. And then I had a pizza nap. I had a pizza nap for a couple hours, dude. And the more I thought of it, I was like, you know what, man? Like, I'm still on, I was still on kids' schedule, basically. Like, I woke up in the morning, like kids were here, and I haven't really had a chance to, recharge. So it was really nice. Except that I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning last night because my sleep schedule is all off. You can't have a 3-hour nap in the middle of the day and then not throw off your schedules like that.
Well, get older, bro. And I promise you can do that. You'll be
keep
fine.
Going to sleep. Yeah, okay. I'll work on that.
It happens. Yeah, I was I popped in a little bit during your stream. You did a great job, man. You were, as always. You know the funny. Let's do this. Let's kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our shout-outs.
Geek outs. Oh my gosh. You said something right at the start, right before we started recording, that blew my mind. We were talking about Fire Emblem, and you're like, it doesn't feel like a Fire Emblem. It feels like, what is it? Fire Emblem Sharp FE or whatever you call it. Yeah, and I'm like, well, it's Tokyo Mirage Sessions. And I'm like, it totally is Tokyo Mirage Sessions. And so my first shout-out goes to Carolyn, the Nintendo from the Nintendo Shack. She has been wondering if she should go play a Persona game because everybody's talking about this game and it's all Persona-like.
Feels like it.
Has she not played that game? Carol,
yeah.
Come on, man. Carolyn,
yeah,
we got to get you that game. So that's my very first shout-out.
Yeah.
Although I was geek out, I guess. It's a geek out that goes into a shout-out.
I don't know okay. Anyway.
Bobby, this is episode 164.
Yeah, man.
So I thought I would look up any interesting Nintendo 64 facts. Did you know that today, August 25th, 1997, GoldenEye 007 was released for the Nintendo 64?
Get out of here.
Is that not cosmic?
That's crazy, man.
That is nuts.
It's crazy. It's
you know how many years that is? There's no way to count how many years ago that is.
A lot of people would view that as like one of the best games.
A lot of people would. I'm up there. It doesn't really hold up, but it
definitely doesn't hold up. It definitely doesn't hold up.
Mm-hmm.
My shout out goes to my cousin Dawn, Dawn Becker.
Mm-hmm.
So she sends me a tweet or a text yesterday, and it's a picture of you.
Oh no.
On TV.
Oh no.
Playing on your stream.
Yeah.
And she says to me, since you don't show up on my TV anymore, I'm doing the next best thing, and I'm supporting your buddy Sean. And I was like, well, listen, Dawn, I'm just trying to get my health in order. And I said, but that's good. You're supporting a good person. And then it just reminded me, like, hey, Sean's streaming. So I went over and I jumped into the chat for a little bit. And you guys are doing a great job, man. You played some Overwatch. It was fun, dude.
It was a good day, man. We played with Mr. and Mrs. Nasty over there.
Yeah,
played a lot of Overwatch, actually. Played a whole bunch of people. Got a whole bunch of... So that rolls into... I have a couple shout-outs. I want to kind of... I don't want to spend I unfortunately cannot spend as much time on each individual person as I would like to, but a lot of people really helped made yesterday really special. We raised some money for mental health. We're going to be doing some today as well on Sunday. So if I don't mention you for your Sunday support, then I'm really sorry, guys. But Rybo kicked things off with his very first donation to the thing. Garrett
Did he
Bland,
really?
yeah, he donated first, and that kind of got things rolling. Once people saw
That's
that
awesome.
Rybo was donating, Garrett Bland showed up with a donation, famous Seamus, Don Becker, Corey, and Amanda Hicks with just an enormous amount of support. We raised over $200 yesterday, dude.
That's amazing, dude.
And most importantly, there's this lady. There's the top 5 fundraisers for this event that I'm doing. I'm doing a half marathon in a couple weeks. There's this lady, Pamela Chumbalumbalum, something like that. She was in first place, and I was nipping at her heels. And thanks to the support of everybody yesterday, Pamela Chumpawump, she's in second place. Okay, now it's become this big thing to raise money for mental health, but also Pamela, you don't stand a chance. I got the power of my friends on the internet, and we're going to $2,500, baby. We're gonna get there. That's my goal. So thank you everybody for the support.
That's amazing. It's amazing. So I want to send a little shout out to the people that have been reaching out to me, man.
Nice.
I've been on this little journey the past couple of weeks, so it's kind of been why I've been MIA. Twofold process. One, September, you should start seeing me more again, back doing some stuff, because I'm feeling fantastic. I really am. I feel like I'm starting to get my swagger back. I'm starting to get back head-wise where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to make the announcements here each week rather than, wherever. But I'm down again. Down 4.4 pounds.
Come on.
Yeah, man. So I'm down a total of like almost 15, 14.8 right now. So I'm like in this headspace of like, and I'm telling you, dude, it's funny because the leader came over to me Thursday, because that's when I do my weigh-ins on Thursday, and she come over to me and she's like, "Hey, how'd you do?" And I told her, she's, "Oh my God, you're doing fantastic." She goes, "What's your secret?" I said, "One of my best friends in all the land, Mr. Sean Capri. That's my secret." I said, he told me, and I'm gonna just repeat it. I talked about it last week, but like, I do all this crazy stuff on the internet. I told her, I said, I do YouTube videos, I do podcasts, and I do all these crazy schedules. And I said, I literally come home from work, go back in my studio, and work again for another 4 to 6 hours or whatever it is. Sean told me to stop and to focus on this, to put the energy that I would put into that on this. And I said, when that was said to me, it changed my perspective. It's no longer about like eating and not eating and all that stuff. It's about like, hey man, put your focus on this. Pay attention to this at all times. And it's been a cakewalk, because I'm just like constantly thinking like, what's next? What's next? What do I do next? Where, you know what I mean? Like, I ate breakfast, now I'm like, okay, what am I having for lunch? And I'm just focusing on that aspect, and it's literally, I'm just the weight's flying off.
I love
so
it,
I'm,
man.
I'm happy, dude. I'm so happy.
Well, and the thing is, like, when you do put that sort of attention to it, you get encouraged by all the results. Like, you're looking for the results on YouTube. You're looking for the views. You're looking for the engagement. And then you step on the scale, and it's like, damn, man, like, those are numbers that I can work with. That's the thing that I can just kind of keep up with the momentum. So, good job, man. I'm really proud of you. And I know that there's a couple, like you and Grouchy Surges, and there's a couple people in the community really working at this, and you guys all coming together. It's making an impact, man. It's making everybody look inwards and being healthy. So I'm really happy to see it, dude. You look great. You seem really happy.
I am very happy.
That's the important stuff.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can get that damn wisdom tooth out of your face.
That's Wednesday now.
Well, I'm looking forward to that for you. Hopefully it's not too painful. Speaking of your tooth, the last person to bring up your tooth was a man named Toby Thornton. You might know him. You podcast with him every week.
Yes.
I'm not sure if this counts as a shout out, but I listened to The Shade, and he's like, Sean doesn't comment on my responses to the YouTube videos anymore. And I'm like, okay, well that's a fair comment. I've not been commenting back. I haven't been even looking at the videos to see if anybody's commenting, and I apologize, guys. To Toby, I say this: I don't get the notifications when they show up. Bobby gets the notifications, so I actually have to go back in and just check to see. So it's not as like trigger based for me. Number two, I did go back after I heard that. I went back to some of the videos and was scouring. I was combing, searching for a response from Toby saying hello or something to me. I went back last week. I went back the week before that. I went back a month before I found a Toby reply. So, you know what, man? Where are you at? Toby Thornton. Glass house, man.
You know what the funny thing is? I think I said this. I forget who I said this to. I might have said it to you guys. I don't know. But this is what I love about us recording on the same days now. Because now I'll go to Toby on the next show because I'm recording an hour from now. Yeah. And I'll go to Toby and go, man, you should have heard the stuff Sean was saying about you. And it gets you guys talking to each other through the podcast. That's what, like, so now people are going to be like, now I have to listen to the other show to hear what Toby's response is.
That's right.
And then like the next, it becomes this thing.
It's very meta.
I love it.
It's very meta. We have a show outside of a show about the two shows.
I love it. I love it. So real quick, I do want to talk about this because I want to make this announcement here. We'll make it here so that way people can pay attention because otherwise they wouldn't really know that well. You and I do another show.
Yeah, we do.
Once a month. It was a Patreon. And I said was because it was. It was a Patreon exclusive show called You, Me, and Capri. And the reason why I say was is no, it's not going away. We are actually opening it up to everybody. I feel like that was probably one of our best shows. Like people came to us, a lot of people after those shows, just saying how much they meant, how much they helped, and all that stuff. So I want to open it up to everybody.
Yep.
And then for the patrons, I just want you to know that like you'll get it first. Like that's going to be the one thing we try to push to for now on around here is you'll get the exclusive stuff. You'll get the opportunity to like ask questions. Like we'll answer your questions on the air, stuff like that when we do stuff. But I feel like that show is because it's not video game related. It's more about you and I, and it's about the people we are. And I feel like the first two episodes we did, because this would be month 3. This would be the 3rd episode we do. I think, right?
I think we've done 3.
Okay, whatever it is.
I can't remember.
It's not that much. We only do it once.
Doesn't matter.
But the episodes that we've done have been very, I feel, poignant and very like, just helping people with problems.
Well, they're cathartic for us. I feel like we're able to just like we talk about like I think we said it before, or maybe in that show. Like these shows are very formatted in terms of what we're even able to talk about. This is about as free flowing as it gets, even for us. I think with the shoutouts and the geek outs, and I've really stretched out the shoutouts to geek out so I can have that. But yeah, we don't really get to talk about anything else. So it's really just this nice dump of just what's going on with us. And we have such great talks. It's really nice that we can kind of like catch up like that. So, yeah, we've had a lot of feedback from people across all spectrum, patrons and non-patrons. And it's in the original spirit of Make Us Better, we never put anything behind a paywall. And then we had a lot of exclusive. We got really excited, I think, about exclusive content. We want to make sure that we're providing value to the patrons as well. And so we want to make sure that the early access is clicking with people. The GamerCast is now early access as well. It wasn't before. So that feed is becoming more and more worthwhile for you guys. I'm trying to figure out ways for the Xbox Drive. I think the only way what I don't want to do is push the release date for the free feed a day. Like I want to keep that on Thursdays, but I'm thinking about posting the Xbox Drive on the Wednesday when I record it. So it's not terribly early. It's like it'll be a couple hours technically, but you'll get it first. So yes, but this show I think is really good to be opening up, man. And it could draw people in as well.
Yeah. No, and I agree, and I like the. Plus, we have the thing we're doing now, where if you donate $10, if you've ever donated $10, accumulative. So if you hit the $10, if you did $3 for 4 months, you will get a feed given to you by Sean that'll be forever. You'll have early access to our stuff forever.
Yeah.
It's your own exclusive feed. So this is stuff that we're doing that we're trying to make things better.
And we want to be a different Patreon too. Yeah. Like I think everybody has a similar format. I think we've fallen into a similar format. So we're kind of making it a bit of a change, you know what I mean? Coming at it from a different angle. And I think people are liking it.
So anyway, that's enough of the business and the boring talk. I apologize, Todd Oxtra. You know what I mean? Like we'll get into this right away, but I care less.
I don't think they allowed this show into Minnesota anymore.
I don't think they do either, and I'm glad. Thank God. I'm glad we banned it from Minnesota.
So bad, dude.
Okay. So, first topic. If we ran Nintendo in celebration of being episode 164, what Nintendo games or what N64 games need a remaster / reimagining similar to that of Crash Bandicoot?
Mm-hmm.
So earlier this year, last year, something like that, Crash Bandicoot came back on the scene, and this game was basically it was just redone graphics wise. It's basically the same game in a nutshell. It just looks like it'd be made today. Plays very similar to then. Um, so I just want to go through some N64 games that I feel need to get a little rework, a little update to it. And I think the first one is a no-brainer. I think it's like it's the first game that hit the N64.
Of course, Mario 64.
And that's Mario 64.
Yeah.
I feel like
just get it out of the way.
yeah, like the thing is Miyamoto's on record as saying like he doesn't like remastered games. He would rather spend the time and the focus on a new game than remastering an old game. And I appreciate that. I really do.
That he would.
Yeah. But because Mario is his baby, Nintendo will not step on his toes when it comes to Mario.
So he just
seems like they don't.
Dies?
It sounds like that might be the case, but who knows?
Imagine.
They might.
It's like the next day.
But it might not be. They might be one of those things that they go, "Hey, we're just going to honor his memory and what he wants and never change it."
Yeah.
But I feel like if I was, especially if I ran Nintendo, I would pull him into an office and go, "Look, we need to do this. We need to fix these games. We need to make them better. We need to readjust them." Even if Nintendo was to go, we're going to leave it identical to the way it was. The only thing we're going to do is fix the camera. Like, leave the polygons the way the polygons are, make it all look the way it does, but just fix the camera. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Well,
But if you're going to go that step, you might as well do the whole thing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I get
Don't get me wrong. But I mean, if that's to appease him and to make, I think that's in my mind, that's the number one issue with that game. Is the camera is wonky as hell and it's bad. At the time, it was fantastic. It was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, you couldn't get your mind wrapped around the fact that you actually controlled the camera. Now, we're just second nature to us. The right stick just basically moves around behind you and you're controlling the camera at all times. I feel like, number one, the camera has to be fixed with that game. No doubt about it.
I wonder too, like, because I can see, just because Nintendo is different, and we talk about this a lot, like, I can see them doing something that doesn't necessarily bring the camera to, like, the dual stick kind of control, where the right stick controls the camera the way that you want it to. Like, there was something to the camera in Mario 64 that sort of, like, snapped it to almost like a 2D side-scrolling kind of view in some cases, like, where it would actually be better if Mario needed to go for a run and kind of, like, jump from platform to platform. Sometimes it was better just to look at him straight from the side, rather than, and it kind of like snapped into place. So I feel like they could actually maybe get the best of both worlds, keep the true spirit of the original game, and just make that better. Instead of you putting the camera exactly where you wanted, or maybe there was a way for it to move and then snap into place, because that was really valuable. I'm not sure if that makes any sense of what I'm saying. Like, because you use the C stick, or the C buttons, right? Yeah. And then kind of like popped it up or down or zoomed in, everything like that. There could be just better ways of doing that. The problem became when you started to manipulate it sometimes, and it would get stuck kind of like in a weird spot by a tree or in a tight space behind them. Like, it kind of got a little strokey. So if they could kind of like fix some of those issues, but maybe still keep the spirit of that sort of snap into place camera, I think there's something there, man.
I agree.
It's possible.
I agree. And then, I mean, obviously it needs to get the polygons all updated, things fixed with it. I feel like it's very lacking. And that's the thing. I feel like every game, and this is why they redid Crash. You know, every game in that era just looks bad right now. It just looks bad. It looks like somebody, you put on a pair of goggles and someone put Vaseline over the tops. You know what I mean? Like, it's hazy. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good. Like, for the life of me, I don't understand why Limited Run is re-releasing the Turok games as they were. Like, I understand maybe they're not developers, but man, go to somebody and go, hey, we have the license to this. Let's fix this. Like, can you make this game better? Because those games are bad.
Yeah.
Like, they're really bad. You know?
We often talk about the visuals, but one of the reasons that Square went over to PlayStation was for the music. Like, for CD quality music and voiceover as well. And we saw what happened eventually with games like Galaxy with like full on symphonies doing the soundtrack. Like that would be pretty incredible. So that we get out of the MIDI soundtrack from the N64, especially with Mario 64. It's more than just the way the games look, dude.
Yeah, could you imagine them like just changing the music of that game of Mario 64 and just putting the orchestral stuff like they do? Like you think about, like to me, the greatest thing ever about Mario Kart 8 was when they did do the DLC tracks.
Yeah,
and they took these tracks that you remember as a kid, and they threw that music to it that just made it sound and feel so much better.
Donut Plains brings like a tear to my eye, man.
Oh,
it's amazing. I love that track, the way that it looks and it glows, and that song. I don't know what it is about it, but that's the thing that we can sort of like say these things, like just do the music in a new style and it'll be good. Like we have like evidence and examples of that where it works. Like you don't even have to worry about it losing the spirit that it was kind of built in originally. It always sounds great.
Yeah.
It's just because it's well composed too.
Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic overall. I think they did a fantastic job with it. I know that they remastered Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Like 3DS kind of thing?
Yeah, but I feel like they could really ramp it up if they went, and really fixed it and made it same thing. Throw the music in there to the orchestral side of things. Definitely revamp the graphics. I mean, don't get me wrong, the 3DS versions, they did a heck of a job on them for what they were able to do. But I would take it a step further and like really.
You need new textures. Like you really, it's not even just that the textures are presented in higher resolution. Like the textures are small, and so they end up getting stretched over these large areas. Like you've got this grass or especially like walls and trees. You can just tell this image is like just this itty bitty little pixel that somebody made, and they have to stretch it across. That's how they keep the game so compact. So when you walk right up to it, it's just this blurry disaster. So redoing some of the textures, even some of the, I mean, it's probably a completely different engine at this point. So you are recreating a lot of it.
Let me ask you a question, because they take a lot of tremendous liberties with the Zelda franchise, artistically wise. Would you be open to basically taking it and going like, hey, we're going to make it all brand new art style for the game?
I'd be open for that.
It's the game. Like it's Ocarina, but I'm not saying we do this, but like this is the theory that in my mind's eye I'm thinking like it's Ocarina, but it's Wind Waker graphics. It's Ocarina,
dude, I was thinking the same thing.
But it's Breath of the Wild graphics.
You imagine just flipping it? I mean, now they're building like 6 games, but whatever.
Yeah, no, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's just to me, it's like if you took this game and just repolished it and reworked it in another art style, and it could be a brand new art style. Like you look at like Link's Awakening, right? And that's a totally different art style than anything we've seen with the Zelda franchise. They take, makes Sean cry. Like
I know, it hits my heart just thinking about this, dude. I was very overwhelmed.
No kidding. Let's embarrass ourselves in front of Nintendo. Okay?
Yeah, I'm about to have a similar thing happen tomorrow, dude.
So the thing is like, I wonder out loud, and I wonder like, is this something that you put into effect and you go like, hey, we're going to change the art style here?
It's possible. One of the things that we saw, this is not Nintendo, but one of the last Tomb Raider games, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and with a lot of games, you can just like change the outfit that your character is wearing. So as you were collecting more and more outfits, or Spider-Man was like this a lot too. Spider-Man and Tomb Raider are both really good examples of completely changing the costume that was being worn, and then all of a sudden you have like these super old school things that stand in a modern built world. So the Spider-Man game, you had a cartoon suit, like you look like you were right out of the 60s cartoon. And then with Tomb Raider, you could have the original character model that was just like standing there in the middle of this beautiful world, and you have this 1996 PlayStation 1 polygon Lara Croft there.
Well, spoilers, you could do the same thing in Odyssey. You could unlock.
I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Oh well.
What is it? Tell me about
it. You can get the old school Nintendo Mario 64 out. You look like Mario 64.
Really? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's incredible.
You look just like Mario 64.
That gives that game that extra 1 out of 10. That gives it an 11 out of 10 right there. Nintendo dads, I get it now. I understand.
Now you get it.
I
Now you
understand
see
your
it.
review. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
now you see why people cried and stuff
that's pretty good.
over one costume.
Look, I had to pause playing Mario Odyssey a little bit because Lincoln just kept taking screenshots.
A little. 2 years later, Sean.
Well,
A little.
I wasn't that into it to begin with. Then I got into it with
Oh.
Lincoln, and then he got wise enough to just start grabbing the controller out and hitting the screen cap button. So,
Hands down, one of the worst Mario games ever.
what?
Like one of the worst 3D Mario games ever.
Oh my God, Bobby! No,
I don't think it's one of the best. I don't think it's one of the greatest.
Well, it's
I
not
think
there
there's
with
probably
Sunshine.
I think there's probably 3 ahead of it easily.
Quick side tangent. Did you see Nintendo teasing Sunshine on Twitter?
That wasn't teasing Sunshine.
You don't think so?
These people just
They're just
it was
trolling.
it's just Nintendo putting up a summertime picture of Mario
Oh,
eating
get
a
out of
watermelon,
here! They know exactly
and
what they're doing.
everybody just literally loses their minds over it.
How often do you even talk about the sunshine? Nobody's talking about, unless they're talking about the Sean Shine, nobody's talking about the sunshine. You know what I'm saying? Super Mario Sean Shine. That's what we need. We need a we need a graphic for this show. A nice new thumbnail. All right, so we've got Mario 64, we've got Ocarina and Majora's Mask with a bit of a refresh there.
I don't know that. Okay, so here's the thing. I definitely would not do, and only because I don't. Because in my mind's eye,
Don't
what I'm
break my
thinking
heart.
is, I mean, it's easily to go like we're going to do everything, right? You just say, oh, everything needs it.
That's actually what I
But-
was going to say at the start of the show.
But the thing of it is like I want to pick ones that like if I'm Nintendo, what's actually going to sell well.
Mhm.
Those 3 games would sell like gangbusters.
Mhm.
A game that people are probably going to look at and go like, oh, this is going to get done. It has to get done. I don't think it would sell well, so I wouldn't do it.
Mhm.
And that's Donkey Kong 64.
Okay. Yep.
I don't think Donkey Kong Country 64 is a good game at all.
Oh, blessing.
it's-
Oh no.
I think it's a collectathon. I think it's annoying. I think it's horrible. Yeah, honestly, that was the game that almost did away with 3D platformers.
Mhm.
Like literally, like people got tired of collecting and going into these games. There's a green banana. Oh, I can't get that green banana because I have to have a different character to go get that green banana.
Mhm.
And then like, oh wait a minute, that character doesn't have the ability to get up there easily. I have to figure out how to get up to where it is. And it's like, but I'm up there with it. It's so
Sounds awesome.
It's the worst. It's horrible.
Mhm. What do you think? This is a game that I'm glad you brought up this sort of like criteria of what games would actually sell well to justify the remaster. I think this game that I'm thinking of is a bit of a cult classic, but I don't know that it would sell well either. But Conker's Bad Fur Day is very well remembered, very different.
That's not something that we could do.
Well, I think. Well, come on, look at the things that we've been talking about with Microsoft and Rare and
I'm
everything.
just saying. Well,
It would
Microsoft also just came out today and said,
What are
"Ori
they
is
even?
the last game."
What are
not
they
today,
talking
but-
about? You're like, they're like the parent with like the kid who's asking for like, I want this, I want this treat, I want this toy, I want this, and they go, okay, but this is the last one, and they're like, that's not the last one, and that's the entire internet.
Well,
They're
right
like,
now they
I don't believe
said.
you.
No, here's the other thing too.
But they're not
put
first party games. That's the thing. They're not first party stuff,
So far, it hasn't been first party stuff.
right? So everybody can just take it
So-
easy.
So my question though is this: have they put anything on PS4 other than Minecraft?
I don't think so. Yeah, Minecraft would be the only one.
So I don't understand where people are just like, oh, they're not getting on PS4. You never have.
That's the internet, man. Nobody thinks critically like that. That's a very critical thought that you just had, man. Nobody, they're just like this, so that. And it's like, that's not really the same thing, but all right. Yeah, just keep going with that.
Okay, like you got okay, whatever. So anyway,
Star Fox 64. Talk
No.
about it. Yes,
I wouldn't.
I want it.
I
It's the
wouldn't do
best Star Fox game
You
that is
want it.
available.
You want it. They already put it on the 3DS. I don't think it sold well.
No way.
Yeah, it was on the 3DS.
Wasn't like packed in? Didn't they have like a
No, it wasn't
3DS
packed
bundle?
I mean, it might have been a bundle. They might have
Yeah.
they might have made a bundle for it, but
Mhm.
it wasn't like a pack-in when you bought it.
It's
I mean,
the best Star Fox game, and it's the
of
only
course,
way.
it's the best. It's the best Star Fox game. Yes.
Look, here's
but,
how you do it. You do a remaster.
But when you
Star
have a
Fox
lot of
64.
bad things, it doesn't really mean
Well, I mean,
much.
that's the thing. That's why you need to. You can't just come out of the blue and with a brand new Star Fox game and hope that it revives the fan base, because the fan base is crippled right now. We're not feeling so great. I'm actually worried a little bit about Metroid in that way. Although they're doing Metroid Prime 4, so at least there's some connectivity to a series that people really like. With Star Fox, has been a whole bunch of misses, and I'm worried about that, man. Let's remind people, if we were at Nintendo, why Star Fox 64 was great, and you could even add a little bit of multiplayer to the mix, or not some multiplayer, more levels to it, because really there was 2, but everybody just played the 1.
What I would do, what I would do with that game, because it's very short, and I would do the remaster, fine, but I wouldn't. What I would do is I would do Star Fox 64 2. Like, I would do a sequel to Star Fox 64, a direct sequel, and then pack in the original.
Star Fox
and
65.
the original would be remastered. Like, I would remaster the original, do a new one, because it's about 45 minutes long, that game.
Yeah.
So you can beat that game in 45 minutes to an hour, right? So just do the same thing. Like, make the sequel right around the same time. This way, when you charge $60 for it, people go, "Hey, I'm getting value for it."
And a lot of the value is built into the replayability with the multiple paths that you can take, and then even getting 100 points or whatever versus not getting 100 points, mission accomplished versus mission completed. That creates some variety for you. But what I would like to see from Star Fox, I think we may have talked about this before, is you have your linear path, but then you also have your like where every level is exactly the same, enemies appear in the same place at the same time every single time, like some procedurally generated stuff. This is something that happens at the indie scene quite a lot, of levels being kind of like made up. I would love to see Nintendo take a stab at this and really show us how it's done. This is something that's sort of like, I don't know how else to say this is. I don't want to marginalize the efforts that are being put by everybody else. Like, it's being done compared to Nintendo. You're amateurs. How do the masters of video games take on this new trend and kind of like show me how it's done? You know what I mean? I think that would be super interesting, and that's the game that you do it for.
So I have probably a couple more left.
All right.
That I just want to acknowledge.
All right.
So there's a twofold answer here for this one. One I would do, one I wouldn't do. And it comes down to the 2 racing games, Mario Kart 64 and Diddy Kong Racing.
Oh.
Right? So when I look at this, on paper you go, it's a no-brainer. Which one you do? Which one you don't, right? If you only had to do one. I would do Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah, totally.
I wouldn't do Mario Kart 64.
Why try and bring another old one and put it on the same level as Mario Kart 8?
Because the thing of it is, with Mario Kart, with any future Mario Kart game, the ability that you see what they do is they cherry pick the best tracks and then bring it over to that new game. I would rather see them do that than to recreate that whole game over from scratch.
Yeah.
But for me, Diddy Kong Racing is a game that they did something very special with that they've never gone back and done again. And that's basically like the story mode of it all. And they implemented planes and you know, and the carts and all this stuff, and like it just felt pretty phenomenal. Like they gave you goals to accomplish in each race, and when you accomplish those goals, it unlocked more tracks and more characters and all this stuff. I feel like that would be the game to do it with. Like that's a no-brainer to me.
And they can finally get rid of all these other kart racers once and for all. You can get rid of the Sonics, you can get rid of the Crash Team Racing or whatever, all this other garbage stuff that's trying to take a little nip at Mario Kart. Look, most of us just need the one Mario Kart, one kart racer. Very few need a second one. So if there's going to be 2 at all, then they might as well be Nintendo one. So I agree with you, man. Diddy Kong Racing. So maybe that's, and speaking of the Microsoft sort of partnership as well, like that's maybe something where it actually could work. Because Conkers is a wholly owned by Microsoft thing. Diddy Kong would be like like if we're remastering or creating a different game, you could do that in a way that still sort of like abides by whatever agreements there are, ownership.
Yeah, because I'm not really sure the agreements. I'm not sure who owns what. I don't know if Rare actually owns Diddy Kong Racing. I mean, they obviously don't own the characters. They own some of them because Banjo, I think, is in that game, and I think Conker's in that game as well.
I could see it being like DLC for Mario Kart. That's the other thing too. Speaking of like, I only want one kart racer. I could see it being like this big mode within another game because it seems awesome. Like that's sort of like along the lines of what we're seeing with Banjo in Smash. It's like this DLC character that's sort of on loan, kind of like a Spider-Man in the MCU thing. Not to bring that up, but yeah, like I could see them doing like an add-on, and that would be great, man. Because we're all wondering, what do you do next with Mario Kart other than doing the Smash, like Mario Kart Ultimate? Every character, every level is there, every track is there.
So for me, I mean, I would be in favor of. Now, I was someone that really was upset when Mario Kart 8 came out and there was no battle mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really upset me. But then when Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out and it did include battle mode, I was just like, meh, whatever.
I know, right?
I barely played it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I would like to see Nintendo eliminate battle mode and do the storyline mode.
Mm.
Like, implement it
Yeah.
and go like, hey, this is your alternative game.
Yeah.
And maybe you involve some online multiplayer, kind of like a Forza type thing, where, you know, that way it gives you that multiplayer aspect where, I don't know, but I feel like they could do so much with it.
I want to
Because
customize my cart a little bit more and my character and everything. Like I want to earn costumes and skins and add-ons and things like that. Like that would really keep me coming back. Like there's no daily challenges or anything to battle mode. Like there's a lot of new modern multiplayer stuff that keep people involved that Nintendo has mostly ignored.
I felt like one of the games that were really fantastic a couple generations ago that kind of like just died completely and was on the PS3 was Mod Nation Racers.
Oh yeah, man.
Huge customization on that game.
That was the name of the game.
The cart part of it really sucked.
Agreed.
Because it was very repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
So my example was this. If I play Donut Plains, I know what the track is the minute I see the name.
Yep.
I might not know it the first time I race it, but after I race it a few times, my mind's eye goes, okay, here's the next turn. I know this turn's coming up, blah, 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 and you get it like the back of your hand.
Mm-hmm.
With Mod Nation Racers,
yep.
where the problem was with that was they used a lot of the same assets.
Mm-hmm.
So you would race a track, and it was like a Roman theme, right? And then like you would move to the next circuit, and then later on, that aesthetics would show up again.
Mm-hmm.
So it would throw you off. Which track am I on? Like normally, the minute you are sitting at the starting line, you know immediately what turn you're making when you go into the first turn. Am I drifting? How hard am I drifting? What am I doing? You're in your mind. You're playing out the track in your head. You're thinking back to past tracks of how you took turns and what you did. With that game, it was so difficult because it was all parallel, and you would hit these things, and you hit the ground. And you're sitting there waiting for the clock to go, and you're thinking, "Wait a minute, is this the other track? Does this turn here? No, wait, that's the other track." And you got yourself all screwed up. Mm-hmm. And there was so many times I go into the first turn and just run straight into the wall.
Well, it's like mirror mode. Like as soon as you unlock mirror mode, it's like you're so used to it. By that time, you've played the crap out of those games. Yeah. And then they flip it around. You're totally right. Like I would be on muscle memory mode and just turn right and just right into a wall. It's like that's a left turn now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing I want to do, I don't want to do the second topic the way we just did that topic. I think this is a real easy, quick answer. Yeah. We could kind of get into it real quickly. We had a second topic, but I want to roll it into the first topic, and it's, would we release the N64 Classic this year? If not, when? Would we do it ever? I'm so torn when this question gets thrown at us, and I don't really know the true answer to it because I'm of two minds with it. One is never, but the other part of me is like, well, I'd like to have a little mini classic on my shelf back there. But I feel like the games just aren't worth it. I feel like the games aren't that good. Yeah. So, I mean, and what I mean by that is, yes, the games are classics. They're great. They're fantastic. We just went through a bunch of them. Yeah. But we're remastering them. And we're remastering them for a reason.
I see where you're
going with this. Because
they
look like crap. The camera work is horrible. Everything is a mess. So for me, it's like, well, what do we do? Where do we go with it? You know, what's the right thing? What's the wrong thing? And I don't know. I mean, I feel like maybe we release it in a very limited number fashion. What I would do is I would say, okay, we're going to release it, and we're going to make 500,000 units. Okay. With the caveat, hey, if we blow through the 500,000 units, it might take us a little bit, but we'll get you another. Then we'll do a full run.
Well, it's the classic. I mean? It's the classic Nintendo scarcity. Like manufactured scarcity, if we're not really going to be making that many. I thought you were going to go into, like, could the N64 be the first time? Could you make a case for being pretty different from the others where you actually do get a remaster on them? Like, do you do, like, an anniversary edition version for the games that are on there? That gets you around, because we keep getting fewer and fewer games, right? There's 30-something games in the first one. There's 21 games, I think, in the second one. So if you had, like, 10, but they had a remastered version as well, that kind of like justifies. I could see them
That's
going in that
interesting.
direction.
That's interesting, but man, how much would that damn thing cost?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so crazy money
Mm-hmm.
wise. I would just say, for me, this is probably what I would do. I would do something a little different than what Nintendo has done in the past with these particular models. I would go, hey, we're opening up pre-orders for a month.
Mm-hmm.
You have 1 month to pre-order it. And then if you pre-order it, you buy it, you got it. And then we're going to throw another 500,000 out just into the market for the people that just don't know about it, like mom and pop. But like for the hardcore gamers that want it, we're going to put it out there. You're going to get it. You're going to go. And then you got to pre-order for a month. If you pre-order it, you're guaranteed to have it. No big deal. And that way, whoever really wants it can get it. This way, you're not like you're appeasing some and you're not the other.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know the right answer.
Well, they do become more trophies than anything. So I don't know if there's something to be said about that in terms of like selling it as a collectible or something. And with the 64, you had all those different colors that came out. I really think that there's something there on the different colored controllers and the different color systems and everything like that. It's just not nearly as much of a no-brainer as the first two were.
Yeah,
but like there has to be some sort of a hook. There has to be something else because people kind of catch on. By now they know the pattern that they find themselves in. They get excited about the thing, they buy it because they're impulse buyers, and then they play it that evening, and then it sits. Right? So we're learning. Right.
I haven't touched my Super Nintendo one. Like, that's my favorite console.
Exactly.
And I haven't touched them at all. They're sitting up there.
That's the juxtaposition. You've got, like, the best consoles, and then you've got the one that everybody is already thinking, these games don't really hold up anyways. So I think that's exactly why we haven't seen it so far.
Well, I think also why we haven't seen it is I think Nintendo saw what Sony did.
That too.
And went, wow, we don't want to mess with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Sony wouldn't have done what they did, we would have had this thing by now.
Wouldn't it be just a stab to their heart, though? Because the PS1 was such a monumental success in its day. The N64 is one of the worst-selling consoles in Nintendo's history. But wouldn't it be amazing for the N64 Classic to come out and outsell and do better than PlayStation? Like that's a bit of a motivating factor for me if I ran Nintendo.
You know, the crazy thing is, it absolutely would.
It totally would.
It would kill it. Mm-hmm. And that's, because even though I'm sitting here talking about I wouldn't buy it, or I wouldn't play it, I'd buy it.
You want it, yeah.
I'd want it because I have two other ones on my shelves.
And that's you got to finish the collection. You created collectors out of all of us with Amiibo and everything like that. These are perfect size for that. They look great next to each other, and then it's done. Like we just have the two. I'm like looking over mine on the side of my table here. Like that's it.
Yeah. Okay, so the next topic is powered by Patreon.com/Yumi Capri. It comes from Brendan Myers. Should Nintendo bring back the download play for the Switch? I feel like it would definitely help families and younger gamers with being able to play games together, or it could even lead to using a second Switch like a gamepad. So when I first heard the question, I thought of something different. My idea or my thought process was, I don't know if you remember this, but when you had the 3DS and the regular DS, you could go into GameStops and it would download demos to your console.
Oh, yeah.
And you had that demo until you turned the console off. So every month you would get these demos. Like, you could go to GameStop, download these demos while you're in the store, take them home and play them and stuff. But again, the minute you shut the thing off, you lost the demos.
Yeah. So
for me, I think of twofold. That would be something I would implement. That would be something that I would bring back to get people, because last week I think it was, or the week before, we talked about street passing, right? And I feel like doing something like this would start to get people back in the rhythm of, I got to take my Switch with me.
Yeah.
Got to take my Switch with me, right? So you get this, you get your Switch, you go to GameStop, you get it, and then, while you're there, you're street passing. Yeah. So I would do twofold on that aspect. But I know this isn't really the question, and we'll get back to where we are. Download and play is basically like where, and the only reason I brought that up is because I think they named it for something very similar.
Right.
And that's where my mind thought, like, oh, this is what we do. But then as I read the question out loud, I was like, no, that's not what he's talking about, you idiot. So
some people don't remember what download play is. So yeah.
Download and play is basically like, if I have, we'll use an example. If I have Mario, because they did this with Mario Kart 7.
Yeah.
So if I have Mario Kart 8, right? And you don't have it, but you're at my house. you can actually download a version of the game
Mm-hmm.
that would allow us to play together.
Yep.
But you would play on your console and I would play on my console. And then when we disconnect and done, you lose the version of it and I have the versions.
Right.
And then you could go back and get and re-download and play. So it's basically you download the game just to play,
Mm-hmm.
but then when you're done, boom, it disappears.
Mm-hmm.
So this helps in multiple reasons. One, if you don't have the game, you come to my house. It lets you try a game that you might not have.
Exactly.
You get addicted to it, and you go, "Oh my god,
I
I gotta
have
have
it."
Yeah, that's step one. Step two to the process is you and baby brother have your parents aren't well to do, and they can afford one game a month or one game every 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
They buy you Mario Kart 8. You and your brother can sit there and actually play the thing whenever, and it's not like one feels like they're being cheated because they can't play the game.
Right.
You know, so
and the parents don't feel like they're being taken to the cleaners because Nintendo is forcing them to buy multiple copies of the game for every single one. Like, I feel like this is actually a really nice solution to the thing that I often talk about, that I'm really confused why Microsoft and Sony do this. Like, Chelsea and I play Borderlands together at the exact same time using one copy of the game on two consoles. Which is not really what this is. It's sort of like a version of it. It's actually a full-blown version of it where we're actually my account can download the game to two consoles, and then a different user can use my game on a different console. I can use my version of the game on my console. I don't know why that makes sense, why they allow for that, because I feel like that's going too far.
I think it's going too
I think
far.
Nintendo's really good with this download play to allow people in the same house to play together on two systems. And you could even do a thing like where you could follow up. Okay,
Exactly.
you tried this game, you did the download play, here's how you buy it. Or maybe there's a discount price that you can offer as well because your family or whatever, if you wanted the whole thing. Like, the notion of download play is that it's only multiplayer stuff. Like, you don't get access to the full game. You don't get the single player stuff. And that's the thing that is unlocked when you purchase the entire thing. So I'm all for this. I'd completely forgotten about download play. And I always felt like this weird positivity towards Nintendo, like this gratitude, like thank you for doing this. Like, thanks for
exactly.
Right. And it was fancy. Like, it seemed very innovative too. Like, when you did it, you're like, this is the future. This works. It was very smooth. So I really enjoyed that. And it brought even just more than just one person together, especially with a game like Mario Kart. It's that picture that they have in the scene that they try to create on every commercial, all your friends getting together. But in that case, there's $200 worth of games being purchased. In this one case, it would be great to have, hey, I want to show you this game, do the download play, and we can play together.
Yeah. And here's an example. Here's a small example of what download play can do. So you came to my house this year, right?
Yep.
And we wanted to play Nintendo games together and 64 games, but we couldn't play because you didn't have Nintendo Online. So you were like, okay, you know what? I'll get the free demo. So this way I can get these games.
Yeah.
And we can play. And then you wound up keeping it because you liked it. And you were like, this is pretty awesome. You know what I mean? Like, so in theory, you can, it's the same philosophy. You would have come over, you would have downloaded the game to be able to play it with me. And then you'd have been like, oh, this is pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep this. You know, so, or I'm going to go buy this game and have a good time with it. So I think it's a no-brainer to me, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that you absolutely re-implement on some level. Now, obviously, you can't do it with every single game.
And they didn't before either.
No, they picked and chose. You know, they cherry-picked what they wanted to do. But the fact that Mario Kart 7 actually had it was fantastic.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
that
this
was
is
a perfect
crazy.
example.
Yeah. Like, I remember a long time ago, right? There was this time, like forever, I was married, right?
Oh, wow.
And
really going back.
Way back, right?
Yeah.
And I was playing mine, and the woman that, whatever her name is, she would be on the couch next to me, and she would download the game, and we would play together right then and there, and it was a blast. You know what I mean? Like, let's be facetious. Tony is her name. But she would download the game, and we would play together. And then when it was done, she'd shut her 3DS off, and boom, the game was over.
Yeah.
But we got to spend that time playing it together, and it didn't cost us another 30-40 bucks
Mm-hmm.
to do that, to share that experience.
Because if you really think about like most cases, like people, they're you're forcing them to buy a second copy of the game for like a 1 or 2 time use. Like the second person is typically not the full-time gamer, right?
Yeah.
Chelsea and I played Splatoon once together because one time we're like, let's play Splatoon, and she had to go buy the second copy, and she still has it on her Switch, which is great, but like she didn't need to buy that. Like it feels like a ripoff. It feels kind of gross, and it kind of like sours the whole experience.
Well, especially in a situation where she didn't like the game.
I mean, it's fine. It's just like with her like limited time, it would just be, and where other systems that we have allow us to operate off of one console. Like if nothing else, because we've been focusing on, it's a really nice thing to do for people. The fact of the matter is, the other 2 consoles allow for this to happen very easily in a much more wide open way. So how do you tackle that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I would definitely do it. And
yeah, that's a great question. I'm glad you brought it up again.
But here's a caveat: I would just make sure that no Kirby games would allow it, and that would be the way I was
gonna bring it up. You always get so mad at me with the Kirby.
So that is all.
What Kirby game wants it? That's the next topic for next week.
None, never.
Leave your comments below.
No. So that is all. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of If We Ran Nintendo. Thank you, Brendan Myers, for the awesome question.
Great question.
You too can submit your questions by just going to patreon.com/YouMeCapri. For as little as $1 a month, you can get early access to all of our podcasts and all that stuff, but also you can submit questions to the shows and all that good stuff. So you can follow Mr. Sean Capri on everything that he does on the internet over on the Twitters at Sean Like Connery, Capri Like the Pants. Also, twitch.tv/Sean Capri. It's not really Sean Capri. It's Sean Capri. You can follow me, Instagram, Twitter, at Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Preston.
Buy and play some video games. What did Toby say? Oh, take this. It's dangerous to go alone. I listen to all of your shows, Bobby. I said it backwards.
Yeah, I know you did.
Keep that in. I recognize I said it backwards, you son of a...
I'm a professional, bro.
Oh, right. All right.
I only mess up once in a while.
There's a good intro too. I'm a professional, bro.
I'm a professional until I forget to record. Then not so much. And nobody else changed, right? We still got Brendan Meyer. But okay,
Yep.
All right, let's go. It is Sunday morning. We're about to record.
I didn't swallow it. I'm choking on it now.
Oh, fuck you, man. Fuck you. Oh, man.
It's been a while. It's been a while since we did something like that.
Oh, my stomach. Oh, shoot.
It was worth it, but it damaged me. Okay.
Oh, my God.
We're professional.
Oh, shit.
I'm really enjoying how much this broke you.
Oh, I needed that.
Okay,
oh,
all
man.
right.
Okay.
All right. Pull it together, Bobby. Come on, man.
I'm trying.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, my stomach.
That was pretty good.
Oh, my stomach hurts. Oh, stop laughing.
It was a really tasty sip too. That was really worth it.
Oh my God.
I was really scared you're gonna be mad at me, so I wasn't even swallowing the coffee. It was just sitting in my mouth, and I'm like, I better swallow. And then it kind of trickled down the wrong way.
You know what I did? I'm sitting there in my mind going, "This son of a bitch, he got me."
Yeah.
He got me. But I was also glad that you didn't do it when I got into the names.
I know. I was like, I better do this quick, man.
Oh God, that was good. You have to do a breakout with that.
Yeah.
Put that on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
This week's.
All right.
Whew. Oh, my stomach is killing me, dude. Okay. Whew. Okay, here we go.
I feel like you're not even laughing at that anymore. You just got, man. You just got.
Oh, man. I haven't laughed this hard in so fucking long.
Well, that's the magic that I bring
Holy
to the show, man.
shit.
That's why you keep
No
me around
kidding.
once a year
Ooh,
and make you laugh like that.
That was worth it.
That's the morning
so
show.
worth
We're
it.
back, baby.
Okay, here we go.
Pull it together.
Oof. All right, so I'm going to mess up. I apologize.